Quick word about the right hand. The best way to play this consistently and to get it even is just to use all downstrokes, especially if you're a beginner. Works great. Now, just for the sense of coordination and the ability to be able to have your muscles and your hands move in a way that's efficient, you may want to try to incorporate an upstroke and just see how it goes, just so you can practice some new sense of coordination. Now, I find myself catching a little bit of the other strings for rhythmic nuance when I'm doing that. And it provides some new kind of feel for me and makes it a little bit more interesting than just doing downstrokes all the time. So if you're a little bit more advanced, you may find that upstrokes are fun to incorporate. But if you're just getting started, you probably ought to just use downstrokes the whole time. Okay, so let's get straight into where to put your fingers on playing the Rhythm for Red House by Jimi Hendrix. Please understand that Jimi has tuned his guitar down by either a half step or a whole step. So where he's playing it on the guitar and how it sounds is going to be different on the album than how it sounds in this recording or how it sounds on your guitar when you have it tuned to a standard tuning. If you want it to sound exactly like Jimi, then you need to turn your guitar down a half step and play it from the same position that we're learning it in this video. If that's a little too complicated for you right now because you're a beginner and you're just learning to tune your guitar, don't worry about it. These kind of things will come to you over time. For now, figure out the things that you can do and have fun with those. So let's get straight into how to play this particular honky tonk pattern on the guitar. Hey, so the first chord that we're going to learn for Jimi Hendrix's Red House is a B power chord. You put your first finger on the 6th string 7th fret, that's a B. You put your third finger on the 9th fret 5th string, that is an F sharp. If you play them together, it makes a nice B power chord. Okay? In order to get the honky tonk extra note, you'll put your pinky down on the 11th fret. Now that may be a bit of a stretch for beginners in terms of your hand having a stretch to reach the notes. Just continue to practice it and have fun. Okay? Now, another word of wisdom for this chord, when you're playing the honky tonk thing and you're working on it at home, leave your third finger down. It does not move, okay? You keep it in position. You do not pick it up every time. That would not be a good way to play this pattern. It's too much movement to make that one pattern work. Okay, so let's get on to the next chord, which is E. So we're going to use an E power chord. So the 6th string open is the root of the chord. And then we're going to also play this 2nd fret on the 5th string, that B. Play them together, makes a great E power chord. In order to get the honky tonk extra note, we're going to add the 3rd finger to the C sharp here on the 5th string, which is the 4th fret on the 5th string. So you get this. And again, you can see that my finger on that B does not move, okay? When I go down to the C sharp, I'm continuing to hold the B. I'm not picking it up like this. That is also, again, too much movement to make one good sound. Just leave it down. Okay, now let's go to the F sharp. Your first finger is going to be on the 2nd fret of the 6th string. Your third finger will be on the C sharp. Again, for this chord, we're going to use C sharp. Right there on the 4th fret of the 5th string. Put those two notes together. Makes a beautiful F sharp power chord. To get the honky tonk extra note, your pinky has to stretch up to the 6th fret. This is a pretty big stretch for beginner hands. Just continue to work on it. I know it's difficult. Your hand will get stronger and the tendons and muscles will begin to mold themselves to be able to play guitar. Here's what it should sound like when you're playing in the beginning. Again, I'm holding everything down, and the only thing that's moving is my pinky. The other two fingers are holding down. Great. So in the beginning, you are going to play these chords and just hold them down and keep them held, and not pick them up. The F sharp, the same. Okay? But as you develop your sense of timing and feel for this, you can begin to use what is commonly called as a pumping type of action with your left hand. Now, this is going to create two circumstances for you with the rhythm. It's going to give you a little bit more rhythmic nuance and feel. So instead of just sounding sort of static like this, it gives it a kind of bounce. So I'm pumping to get that sound. Now, the other thing that this particular technique is going to give you is that playing these chords and holding them down continuously is extremely difficult. So pumping gives you a sense of relief. You're not having to hold the chord down the entire time. If you had to do that for 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes to play this tune, your hand just might fall off when you got done. So you have to have some sense of relief. This pumping action is sort of like I'm using the muscles that I would to hold it down, but just every now and then I'm relaxing them. So I'm kind of going ba, 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 like that, okay, with the B chord. So let's look at that as close up as we can get it, the pumping action for the left hand. You see the slight pumps that I'm making. All right, so to get the nuanced pump action with an open string, this is actually, to me, a little bit more difficult, but to you it may be easier. The E chord, because this E is open, we have to use either our right hand to mute, or we have to use our left hand fingers to come up and mute. Either way, in order to get that nice nuanced rhythm, we have to use some means of muting. Otherwise, it's just going to sound not quite as nuanced. I'm pumping these notes, but I'm not muting. Now, when I play this particular chord to get that nuanced rhythm, I'm muting with my second finger and my third finger some. Like when I play it just without the third finger down on the C sharp, I'll mute with both fingers. But when I go to the C sharp, my second finger is still there to mute. Now, I could possibly mute because I use a huge pick. I could possibly mute it with the pick. But it gets messy though, because there's a lot of rattling with the pick. Okay, so to me, muting with the left hand is best because it's not as noisy and it's dependable. I can get the job done every single time with my left hand, so why not use it in that way? For you to experiment and find your way of doing that is going to be best. Using my method and trying it out is probably going to be a very good idea for you. That way you can tackle this problem quicker by using my experience. All right, so let's get on to the F sharp. So F sharp is going to be the same as B. We don't have an open string, so there's not as much things that the left hand has to do. We're just going to pump. So again, with the pumping action, you are going to save yourself a lot of trouble with having to hold the chords down the entire time. That is extremely taxing, physically difficult to do. The pumping gives you a little bit of relief. With the open E string, you're going to have to use some way to mute that sixth string to get the real staccato kind of nuance of this swing pattern. Have fun and enjoy trying these things. Remember to be patient. It may take you 2 weeks. It may take you 2 months to get this down and get it really grooving the way you want it. Just take your time and enjoy it. My experience right now with that is learning gypsy jazz guitar. I've played lots of styles of music. I've played rock and roll and classical. Now I'm really into gypsy jazz, which is like Django Reinhardt based music. And there's a lot to that music. There's so many cool things to learn. And it takes me forever to learn them. I have spent a year on just maybe 3 to 5 songs, trying to get them down better and better. and I still feel like I have a lot of room to improve. So be patient with your development and enjoy the process of learning something new and getting a little bit better at it every day. If you can get into that flow, you will love playing the guitar for the rest of your life. One of the most important skills that you can get as a musician is learning to slow music down to a tempo that you can play it. So the tempo of Red House is somewhere around here. That's somewhere around 65 to 67 on the metronome. Now, if you're not able to use a metronome and you don't know anything about how to slow music down using YouTube or other digital devices, you can still use your imagination to take this tempo and slow it down to a tempo that you can handle. You've got to maintain a tempo that allows you to think through the problems of physically holding the strings down, moving your pinky at the right time, and then also switching chords, getting to the right place on the guitar to go to the next chord or the next chord, right? All of this is problem solving with fine motor skills, which means small movements of your hand. You have to go at tempos that you can maintain those small movements, thinking about where to go, all of those kind of things, and play it successfully in rhythm. That's the golden tempo for you. It's a lot like Goldilocks. She didn't want the soup too hot. She didn't want it too cold. She wanted it just right. So you're definitely not going to be able to go too fast, but you also don't want to go so slow that it's uncomfortable. Finding that magic tempo that lets you be successful. 99% of the time when I have students that I'm teaching that are beginner musicians, they really struggle with finding this tempo. They do not slow it down enough to be successful, and then I have to suggest a tempo or basically force them to slow down to a tempo that they can do it. Please, if you are not successful, try slowing down. 99% of the time, that's what the solution is. Have fun and enjoy what you're doing. The ups and downs and frustrations of learning a musical instrument are all made worth it when you see your goals beginning to come complete. And if you practice with good practice strategies and you be smart in the practice room with slowing things down and using good strategies to get the physical movements down, you will be successful. All right, so real quickly, I'd like to do a demonstration on how to use the metronome to speed yourself up with Red House. Once you've found the tempo that you can play it at, then you can then apply it to the metronome. So I just tried to do this at 35 and was completely unsuccessful. 35 was too slow. So I'm going to speed up to 40, and we're going to walk up the first four measures only from the form, from 40 up to 65, so you can see how that works and hear it in the process. All right, so here's 40. 1, 2, 3, 4. Measure 2. Measure 3. Measure 4. And then measure 5 would be an E. Okay? All right, so I just did the first four measures. Now, it's more practical if this is the tempo that you feel comfortable at. You probably don't want to go up the metronome too quickly. So you probably want to go from 40 to 45 at the most if you're beginning. You could go 40 to 42 to 46 to 48. The cool thing about going up in small increments on the metronome is it actually kind of tricks your brain. It doesn't feel like you're going much faster if you go only a little faster. So let's go up to 45. It's a little faster. 3, 4. That's measure 1. 2. Measure 3. Measure 4. Measure 5 is an E. All right, so now let's walk up the metronome to 50. Same thing. It's easing up the metronome. 1, 2, that's measure 2. Measure 3. Measure 4. Measure 5. So this is how you would use the metronome at home. Just easing up until you get to your goal tempo. Again, you're going to want to be patient. Learning to play the guitar is a difficult task. It is not easy, but it can be so much fun, and it is so great to achieve your goals. So again, if you practice with intelligence and you practice with good strategy, you will achieve your goals faster. You will be motivated to learn more because you are learning faster. So practice smart, have fun, and enjoy what you do. Okay, so let's get into the actual blueprint and foundation of this tune harmonically so that we can begin to play it all the way through from beginning to end. The first thing that you really need to understand is that when I use the word form, I mean blueprint. So most musicians that I've known would call this a 12-bar blues form, which means that the foundational blueprint of this tune is 12 measures long with a chord progression that repeats over and over from beginning to end. The 12-bar blues form has been around since the late 1800s and was born in the southern United States as a community-based music. So it's born in a place where the musicians were being friendly with one another, letting beginners come in and play, more advanced musicians playing in the streets together or maybe in a barn somewhere. So this style of music is meant to be played live. It's meant to be jammed and communicated with other musicians. It's also meant to be the kind of music that people who are beginners and want to be involved can get engaged with the music and play with other musicians pretty much from the beginning. So this is a great form to be getting into as a beginner. So let's get straight into the music. This first example of the form that we're looking at is only the measures. I know that there's probably a lot of people watching this video who don't have any experience reading music. That's okay. The video is not intended for people to learn to read music. But in order to understand the form, it's good to look at this and to see that we have 12 blank measures here. We have 3 lines with 4 measures on each. Measures 1 through 4 is the first line, measures 5 through 8 is the second, and measures 9 through 12 is the last line. So now, let's take this down and have a look at what the music looks like with the chord symbols over the top. Okay, so here's the same 12 measures with the chords over the top. We can easily see that in measure 1 it's a B, measure 2 is E, measure 3 and 4 are both Bs. You can see easily in bar 5 that we go to E, then in bar 7 we go back to B, and then bar 9 is F sharp, bar 10 is E, bar 11 is B, and then bar 12 is F sharp, getting us back to the top of the form with B again. This chord progression is going to happen over and over and over. That's very typical for the 12-bar blues form. There's hundreds of songs that have this same exact chord progression. That's what's so great about it, is that you can follow this chord progression and learn this form and get to jam with all kinds of musicians. Now, I know the guitar players out there are getting a little bit scared because they don't see tablature. So let's get a version of the tablature up here. Okay, there we go. There's the tablature version. We can see where we're playing each chord and make sure that we know where we're at in the form. I will provide a link to PDFs for these particular sheets because they will be helpful. I am going to play through the form a couple of times. You can follow along with your guitar. You can follow along on the sheet. All right, so let's get to that. All right, so I'd like to take us through the form twice. The first time, I'm going to count just the measures. So instead of counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in the individual beats, I'm going to be counting the measures. So it'll be like measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, measure 4. Except I'm not going to say measure every time. I'm just going to say the number. And when you're counting through the form at home, you should do this in the same way so that you can keep track of where you're at and you know where the form is happening and when. 1, 2, 3. Measure 1, 2, So now let's count through the form, counting the individual beats. In this particular exercise, you really have to know your form. You have to know the tune to be able to count the beats and remain accurate on when to play the chord and where and in what measure. So I'm going to count the individual beats to the form. Hopefully following me will help. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. My congratulations if you've gotten to this point in your study of the 12-bar blues form as it relates to Red House by Jimi Hendrix. We are going to be counting through the form as if it is in the time signature of 12/8. Remember, the time signature of 12/8 relates to 4. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in a 4/4. That's how we'll count the 4/4 times. So now let's count the 12/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this time signature requires a lot more breath to be able to count through. So take a deep breath, get ready to count. Sometimes you're going to be counting when you're breathing in. Sometimes you'll be counting when you're breathing out. It is difficult and laborious. But if you can do this, you know that you know the form and you're internalizing all of the foundational things that make this tune work in terms of the rhythm and the actual blueprint of the tune. So here we go. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to count one measure and then start working with Jimmy's little honky tonk type thing that he's doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1. So congratulations if you are able to count and play your way through the form in this manner. It is tough. It is tedious. Yes, it is difficult, and yes, sometimes it is a drag. I do apologize for that, but you know what? I probably shouldn't, because I really do believe if you internalize these rhythms and work through these exercises, that you will learn this form quicker, and you will be able to play this style of music with more integrity and more rhythmic accuracy than you could before in a quicker amount of time. So your goals of being able to play the music, jam with your friends, join a band, go to a jam session, and hold your own when people call tunes like Red House or Stormy Monday or some slow blues that Stevie Ray Vaughan did or something that T-Bone Walker or B.B. King or Albert King wrote, those tunes will apply to these rhythms in a way that will give you some connectedness to them. Have fun, do the work, and experience the benefits of doing the hard things that you have to do sometimes to become a better musician. That's where my baby stays. Well, I ain't seen my baby in 99 and 1 half.